Our next panel, ladies and gentlemen, investing big in Pennsylvania, and our panelists have been outstanding. We have another high-powered panel for you. Moderating this panel is Neeli Bendapudi, president of Penn State University. She will be joined by Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, our host, Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick, and Matt Garman, Chief Executive Officer of Amazon Web Services. How are you? Go over there. They want to go. I'll be right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start the next panel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the president of Penn State University, Neeli Bendapudi. Her panelists will be Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania Senator Dave McCormick, and Matt Garman, Chief Executive Officer of Amazon Web Services. Can we have a round of applause for this august group?
All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Neeli Bendapudi, president of Penn State University, and I have to say it's such a privilege to be here today. The entire day, I feel like a kid in a candy store. I don't know about you, but it's been an extraordinary day. Today, we're going to be talking about not just how we reimagine, how we power AI, but as you can see from the comments so far and from the panel discussion to come, it's really about how do we power up opportunity for all in Pennsylvania and for the country, and of course, we always care about that deeply. Today, the impetus for me to be here is really the AWS investment in Berwick, which is a milestone, and also stands out as the power of spirit of partnership that really made it happen. Governor Shapiro, Senator McCormick, what an honor. You show what happens when you have that spirit of collaboration and you can bring transformative investment and say that we care about serving the community above all. Well, the first order of business for me, and I already apologized to all of them, but they asked me to say a few words about Penn State before we dig into the panel, because that's why I'm here.
Go on.
So one of the things, and I'll keep it very brief, but I know that's why I'm here. One of the things that I'm really proud about is if you think about energy, any sector of energy, you'll think about Penn State, no question, but certainly on nuclear energy. The oldest power plant, nuclear reactor on a university campus is at Penn State. Not only is it the first, next month we'll be celebrating our 70th anniversary. So y'all are invited. But it's not just resting on laurels as we think about moving forward. Bruce at Westinghouse, the icon, we're working with, Penn State is working with Westinghouse and the NRC to see if we can be the first university to also get the eVinci, the micro nuclear reactor, and the most engineers that you have at Westinghouse come from Penn State. That's just because we are large. We were talking about universities. What a gift it is to be here at CMU and with all of the other institutions of higher education in Pennsylvania. But that's another theme that comes up all the time for all of you I know. And the fact is, 4 years or so ago, Forbes declared that Penn State produces the most STEM graduates of any university, and we had about a 50% lead over the next one. But they haven't updated it, so I cannot imagine we've fallen too far. I can confidently say we're in the top producers of STEM graduates. And of course, with the breadth of Penn State, one of the things that I'm really proud of is that in our portfolio is Penn College of Technology. So whether you're looking for those nuclear scientists, the PhDs, or those welders and the technicians and the plumbers. We're proud that we can power up Pennsylvania through that opportunity. So with that, I want to turn to our panel. That was pretty good for me, right? That was brief. That was brief.
I mean, you showed up at CMU and you're, fighting words with Farnham.
No fighting words. You need all of us, and we are thrilled as Research University to showcase what we do together. Now, don't start trouble. So I really want to, these panelists today need no introduction, but it's my honor. Senator McCormick, I don't know how to say thank you enough. You are a national advocate for bipartisan solutions to accelerate innovation, energy infrastructure, and economic development, and we thank you. And their book with Dina, I highly recommend, Who Believed in You. So Dina and David, that's really a pleasure to have you here. Governor Shapiro, he has led the charge on public-private partnerships that are attracting major investments to Pennsylvania. We all need to be advocates for Pennsylvania the way the Governor Perry was for Texas. Don't forget that. That's our job. And thank you for positioning Pennsylvania, sir, as a hub for 21st century infrastructure. And of course, the man of the hour, we are very, very pleased to have you here. Matt Garman, the CEO of Amazon Web Services, the company behind the transformational $20 billion investment in Pennsylvania that is advancing the future of AI and energy innovation in our state. So I'm going to begin with a question for you, Matt, if I may. Clearly, you made the right decision. You get an A+ from this professor for deciding to invest in Pennsylvania. But I'd love to know a little more about your thinking behind it and what drove that investment.
Sure. Well, there's a couple things. One, look, it started with there is an enormous opportunity for a whole country to invest in AI and cloud computing. It is a transformative technology for enterprise, for innovation, and it needs a lot of power and a lot of data centers to make that realization happen. And when we went out there and looked, and we said, look, we need to go place large investments, and we looked for places where that investment was possible, and Pennsylvania rose to the challenge there. And there's a couple of things there. Number one, the infrastructure here is great. There's a great grid. There's great connectivity. There's fantastic talent, and that's another really key piece of it, is that we need people to help us go and build there. And then we need government support, and the bipartisan support that we've received from the gentleman here, as well as the whole teams. And by the way, it wasn't easy. Those teams worked days and nights. We were talking earlier, our teams were on the phone almost every day working through issues, but that spirit of collaboration is incredibly important, and it's one of the things and one of the reasons why we're incredibly excited to make that investment here and start building. And one of the cool things about the investment here is it's a long-term investment. We view this as a very long-term partnership with the state of Pennsylvania, and we're just at the early stages of it. And so we've committed $20 billion, and we're going to be creating thousands of new jobs for high technology jobs and construction jobs and really long-term jobs working in those data centers in the AI economy. And it's a long-term partnership. And that is really a number of the things that we looked for as to what was critical for us. And we're delighted with that choice. The partnership has been fantastic, and we're just getting started with it.
Thank you so much. And clearly we love that 20 today is going to be at 90, and so many others joining. Yep, exactly. We want to see that go higher, absolutely. Clearly, you brought up workforce development as a major factor in it. So I would love to hear more from you. What has AWS's experience been in partnering with educational institutions at all levels? As we said, you need everybody to be a partner there. And then I would love to hear from you, Senator, and from you, Governor, on your ideas about how Pennsylvania's institutions, educational institutions at all levels can partner. So Matt?
Sure, I'll start. And it really, it is across the gamut of education. We are a huge hirer of undergrad and graduate talent from Penn State, from CMU, and from universities all across the country. And that pipeline of undergraduate and graduate talent is so critical. It's the energy that you get from new grads who are learning new technologies at top universities around the country and really around the world, are critical to bringing that technology into a company like Amazon and AWS, where we want to be at the forefront of technology and learn, and then also think about apprenticeship and help students as they start on their career and growing that. But we also think it's part of our responsibility to help educate the communities that we operate in as well. And so we invest very heavily in teaching and free education programs, where we think about how do we skill up the communities that we grow into, and whether you're thinking about data center technicians, whether you're thinking about network technicians, whether you're thinking about long-term AI engineers, whether you're thinking about power engineers, whether you're thinking about construction engineering and capabilities, as well as the scope of both building these massive power stations, transmission stations, and data centers. And so it's a huge amount of jobs that we're pumping into the economy, but there's a lot of upskilling that goes to that as well. And so we're both a consumer of the students that you all produce in your universities, which we thank you for, but we also think it's our responsibility to help teach and upskill the communities that we operate in as well.
I love that. The education, it doesn't go one way, but you're actually giving back to the community too. So I would love to hear from both of you.
Well, let me begin and say, Senator, thank you for convening us here. And I have to thank Dina as well, because I read in the paper it was Dina's idea to get us together.
Most good ideas start with Dina.
It's wonderful, and I appreciate the partnership that we have, not just on this, but on so many other things, and really respect what you're trying to do, and appreciate how well our teams work together to accomplish these goals. And to all of you who are here, I think you're here at a really important and unique moment for Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is on the rise, and I think this deal with Amazon is an indicator of all that we can be when we harness the unique things that we have going for us, and when we have government and the private sector working together, not at odds, and where we pull in our educational institutions, to the core of your question, in a way that really helps move Pennsylvania forward. So why does Amazon pick a place like Pennsylvania? First, we are unique in that we are a net energy exporter, second only to Texas. And I hate the Cowboys, so I'd love for us to be first on that. But the fact that we are a net energy exporter, and I'm an all-the-above energy governor that wants to generate more energy here, that positions us uniquely. Second, we've got the best workforce in the entire country, bar none. From the folks in the Pennsylvania building trades that will build these facilities, to the people who are going to work inside of them, whose brains are built by wonderful institutions like CMU and Penn State and Pitt. I'm a Pitt dad twice removed, so I gotta give Pitt a shout out, to making sure that our community colleges and our high school students are getting the training they need to be able to work in these facilities. So we've got the workforce and the energy, and we of course have the know-how at a government level to move quickly. I think one of the things that your team cited over and over and over again when they were talking to us in Pennsylvania is our ability to move quickly, permit quickly, get you guys into market quickly, because you made clear that you can kind of build anywhere, but speed to market was absolutely critical. So I think this unique moment we're in with the energy, with the workforce, with the wonderful nexus with our universities, and with our ability to deliver something quickly, that puts Pennsylvania in a unique position. And I think AWS is representative of what we can do when we all continue to work together.
Yeah, thank you, Governor. Couldn't agree with what the governor said more. And I would just add to it by saying, if you think about the moment we're in, we've been dealt in Pennsylvania a set of cards that are just uniquely oriented towards the moment. In other words, this incredible workforce that he refers to, both very technical at places like CMU and Penn State, but also the skilled labor that has uniquely important to this moment, abundant energy, proximity to the population. So we have a great set of cards, but the question is, are we going to be able to play those cards to maximize the moment? And this isn't the next decade kind of thing. This is 6, 12, 24, 36 months, which is why the Amazon deal was so important, and then to have this summit on the back of the Amazon deal where you have an incremental $90 billion, and we can get in front of the media here and tell our story. That's why it's so important, because it's not only the initial commitments, but all that can follow. And I look at this moment as a business guy. And so I say one of two things. If I'm a business guy, what do I want if I'm sitting in the audience? I want to come to a place that has all those ingredients and has uniform political leadership. The governor and I are different parties. We have plenty of differences, but on this, we agree. Senator Fetterman was at dinner last night. On this, we agree that we need to be at the crossroads of the energy revolution, the AI revolution, and to have a leadership position, we need to show a unified front at the local level, at the state level, at the national level. That's the only way to win. If you're a CEO and you want to invest a bunch of money and you come in and sit down, you meet the governor and he's talking bad about me and saying bad things, saying that I'm full of it and vice versa, it makes you not want to invest, right? So we need to be aligned at all levels. And a lot of the great things that are announced today, I should say, have been in the works for 6, 12, 24 months. So there's been hundreds of great people working to get to this moment. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, as a candidate, I promised I would get things done. And in Pennsylvania, you can't get things done unless you're able to work with people who you disagree with on certain things and find areas of common agreement. And we can agree that we've got to have great jobs in Pennsylvania. We've got to take advantage of our energy resources. Like, there is so much to agree on. So I think this is a particularly special moment for Pennsylvania. And I'm excited to see all of you in this room. I'm excited to have the governor here, because I think this is the moment that we can seize. And I said earlier today, but I'll say it now, we are at closer to the end of the beginning than the beginning of the end. And by that I mean we are just getting started. And if we seize this moment together, we're gonna look back on this day and the preceding days and say, that's where we turn the corner. That's where, as the governor says, Pennsylvania is rising. That's where we begin or accelerate the renaissance in Pennsylvania. And so I couldn't be more excited about it, and all of you being part of this makes a big difference, so thank you.
That's wonderful. I think I speak for everybody in the audience when we say how wonderful it is to see this bipartisan collaboration, that there are lots of things we disagree on, but there are things we agree on for the good of Pennsylvania. So this is truly inspiring. I'm so curious if you have any pointers on how you build that culture for either one of you.
Well, my lovely wife and I have our disagreements. No, listen, it's...
She's right, as long as you know that, you're good.
She's mostly right. I mean, sort of.
She's right, she's mostly right, sort of. I followed you on that.
You may have wanted to start it
Yeah.
stops when you were ahead.
I mean, she's right.
Matt and I are going to give you as much time as you need to clean that up.
I tried to help you too. So, but seriously, it's wonderful to see, and I'm asking you in all sincerity, what drives you to have that openness?
I mean, look, I'm privileged to serve as the 48th governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The last 2 years, I was the only governor in the entire country with a divided legislature. Senate led by Republicans, a House led by Democrats. This year, I think there's 1 or 2 other governors in the country with the same. For me to get any bill to my desk requires votes from the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And I think if you enter every discussion focused on your differences, you'll never get anything done. So when I sit down with my colleagues in the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, House or Senate, what I'm always trying to do is find the areas where we can actually agree and then build up on that. We're finding common ground on energy. We're finding common ground on economic development. We found common ground on education, on public safety, on a whole host of things at the state level. My relationship with the senator is no different. We've got profound differences. I mean, we're honest about differing on the bill that was just passed, the reconciliation bill that was just passed last week. But we also understand how critically important it is to grow our economy in Pennsylvania, this unique moment that we are in right now. And the senator knows I bring certain tools to the conversation that he doesn't bring, and I know he brings certain tools to the conversation that I don't bring. And if we actually work together, 1 + 1 starts to equal 3 instead of 2. And that's the approach that we take. We're honest about our differences. We try and do so in a private way and in a respectful way. I think we need to find more ways to disagree respectfully in this country, quite candidly. And I think, hopefully this can be a model for others. If you work together that way, you can get a whole lot of stuff done. My motto is GSD, get stuff done. And I think at the end of the day, what the American people want from us, what the good people of Pennsylvania want from us, is to put points on the board for them every day. This is an example of how you do that. We create more energy, we create more jobs. Create more jobs, more moms and dads get to go home and put food on the table for their families. More kids have opportunity. Our future is brighter. That's what this is all about.
Senator McCormick, anything you want to add to that?
No. I think I think we're aligned, and I hope people will leave today with a recognition that a big part of the opportunity is to tell our story. And it's why I was so happy to see so many of you here, and so happy to get the coverage we're having, because we are in this moment where, if you talk to Haldun was on a previous Haldun Mubarak was on a previous panel, the pace of change. If you travel around the world, if you go to the Middle East, if you go to other places, the pace of change is extraordinary. And it's going to require a level of urgency that I don't think most people in this room have probably had in the past about this moment, particularly in Pennsylvania. And so that urgency, we need to grab it. We need to grab the moment. It's the kind of thing where, you can tell me, I think I saw your announcement, $100 billion of investment you're going to do in the United States. Is that right?
Globally.
Globally, $100 billion this year.
CapEx, yep.
$100 billion of CapEx this year. Just think about that. And if we had John Gray here and others, so there's hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars being invested. This creates, and maybe you can comment on this, a bit of a network effect. So where you make your initial investment, that is more likely to follow up on additional investments. And where you find the talent that you need, you're more likely to double down on more training programs for that talent. So this becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and nothing breeds success like success. And so for those of you in this room that are Pennsylvanians that are part of this, I know the governor shares this, this is the kind of thing where we have to have enormous urgency on it, because a good bit of the game is going to be played in the next 24 to 36 months, and we want Pennsylvania to be on the forefront of that.
Can I just put an exclamation point on that? Because I think it's really important, and I don't think, Senator, you'd mind me sharing this with you, or with the group. The senator, and I think Dina as well, went to the Middle East a month or two ago, and we talked right when he came back. And one of the things you were most jazzed up about, I thought, were the investments that folks in the Middle East shared with you that they wanted to make in America, and how you were pitching Pennsylvania as part of that. I think that's a critically important point that we can't lose sight of. This is a global race for both energy dominance and AI dominance. And we need homegrown Pennsylvanians to be doing this work, and we need investment from all across the country and all across the globe. We do not want China to beat us in this AI race. This is one of the most important national security questions we have. And so, if the senator and others can bring investment from around the globe to right here in Pennsylvania so we can build out our infrastructure, we can put Rob Baer's guys to work, we can put the graduates of CMU and Penn State to work, that's huge. And I think that global conversation is an important one that we can't lose sight of.
And Matt, I would invite you to speak a little more, as the senator said, about that network effect, as well as nothing succeeds like success, is what I heard him say. Like, once you have that narrative and the proof points that has worked. So I would love to hear more about how you think about investments here.
Sure, and I'll just echo what we were saying around the AI race. It is a critical and one of the most important things that our country is facing. And as you think about where the AI technology is going, it is going to require massive amounts of energy. And that energy is, you have to have the energy first, before you can have the data centers, before you can have the compute, before you can build the models, which allows innovation to happen, it allows economic prosperity to happen. There's a lot of that flywheel, and then the next version of the model needs more energy and additional data centers. And so there is, to your point, there is a growing demand for that, and it is a long-term race, and it's an critically important one that the U.S. wins. To your point, it is. There may not be a bigger national security imperative than winning this technology race, and there is a real flywheel effect where the entire economy benefits, and the jobs get better, the innovation gets better, and the amount of prosperity that happens for those that stay ahead is critical to almost every single business and every single industry. Every single job out there is going to be positively affected by what we're building here, and that energy is super important. One other thing that I did want to add to it, which I appreciate you all too, is when we mentioned regulation, I'd be remiss without saying that I really appreciate how Pennsylvania also leans into nuclear energy. I think the carbon neutral nature of nuclear is a critical part of us being able to produce, and it's a component of what we need. But I love how you here in the state really lean into that too, because it's also a key part of that energy production that we're going to need going forward.
You know, can I riff on one other comment, which you asked me about, but I sort of answered a different question, which is the talent piece of this. And the talent piece of this is so important because, you know, if you think about the challenge we have in our Commonwealth, but across the country, it's great jobs of a variety of sorts. And in Pennsylvania, I think the median income is $52,000 a year. And one of the things I promised during the campaign, I know the governor's campaigned on this, the president campaigned on this, which is jobs for working families, like great paying jobs that they can live the American dream. So I grew up in a household of educators. My dad was a college president, as you know. And I sort of grew up thinking the path to the American dream was college. That's the way to go. And Farnham said earlier, I think about a third of Americans go to college, right? What is so unique about this moment, this intersection of the AI revolution, the energy revolution, it can create, and the AI has all sorts of uncertainties around its implications for jobs, but this revolution and being at the forefront of it in Pennsylvania can create enormous opportunity for skilled labor, enormous opportunity for the trades, enormous opportunity for apprenticeship programs, enormous opportunity for community colleges. These can be a generation of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs that will create great lives and opportunities and the kind of American dream that you know, those of us from a little bit older can remember. That was sort of the Pittsburgh of the past, the Pennsylvania of the past, where those great jobs, you could work in a job like that for 30 years and really have great opportunities. So this is central. These kinds of jobs are central to this revolution. And also the guys with 200 IQs at Carnegie Mellon are also central to it. You need the combination of those two things to be able to make it work, and we have all those things in Pennsylvania. And so the investment in the talent part, you know, you can tell me, but if you when I talk to people in your shoes, and not that you're not price sensitive, but the most important question on where the placing of these investments is going to be is not where they're going to get the very best cost. It's where they can find the labor to support it and the speed to getting up and running, because speed in this race matters more than anything. Do you agree with that?
I agree with some of that.
I mean, you're not price sensitive.
Cost matters too, Senator.
Well, we're not negotiating. I'm just setting the stage.
Just to be super clear, all of those things are important. And honestly, at the scale that we're operating at,
maybe that was Google or Meta that wasn't.
Yeah, they're not price sensitive. Actually, you can go ahead and charge them more.
That's right. Okay.
That's right. But it is but you're absolutely right though that speed does matter. I think, you know, I can't. It's hard to walk through the aisles here without someone telling me that they have a gigawatt of power available, and I'll say great, and they'll be like, well, in 2032, and it does matter. Speed matters. We need the power now. We will need it then too, but now does matter. And the other thing you mentioned too is absolutely, like these data center projects and these energy projects require skilled labor. They absolutely, they are complicated engineering projects, and they need skilled construction folks, they need skilled mechanic folks, they need the electrical systems that go into these buildings are incredibly complex. And we're building the most efficient data centers that have ever been built on the face of the planet. And we need skilled labor to put those together. These data centers have literally hundreds, thousands of miles of of network fiber inside of the buildings. We need folks that know how to pull that together and build industry-leading networks. And that's the type of skilled labor we need. That's part of what the education things are. But to your point, these are very high-paying jobs. And so I think that's one of the things that sometimes folks overlook, is that these technology innovations actually do bring lots of high-paying jobs to the communities that we operate in.
I think one thing that maybe got lost when we made the announcement about the initial $20 billion investment for AWS is the commitment AWS and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania are making toward that next generation of worker and making sure that there's a pipeline on the workforce. I think it's important to note the two initial sites in Salem and then in Falls Township in Bucks County. In both of those instances, there's a unique partnership now between the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, AWS, and the local community college and high school. So if you're a 10th grader and you're interested in welding, you're interested in being a part of the skilled trades, you're gonna be able to get a job on one of these sites. If you're in that local community college, you're gonna be able to go through a special certified program with AWS and the Commonwealth that's gonna prepare you to go to work immediately in one of those facilities. That's a big deal. And to the senator's point, we need to make sure that everybody in Pennsylvania has an opportunity at success. 62% of Pennsylvania adults do not have a college degree. The doors of opportunity need to be open to them as well. And there should be no wrong door for that opportunity. So we've, by the way, my time as governor, we've doubled our investment in VOTEC in our high schools. We've created more than 100 new apprenticeship programs, and we've funded them. We've got unique partnerships between the private sector, our trades, our community colleges, to make sure that everybody has that great opportunity. You graduate from Penn State, we'd love for you to go work there. You graduate the 12th grade at Berwick High School, we'd love for you to go work there too, and there's gonna be opportunities for both.
I'll just add one other piece too, is that there really is a flywheel effect where this creates jobs across the entire economy. And so it's not just at the data center, but it's also, we have, we call it cloud skills development, where we teach people how you go do cloud skills. And so we have customers across every industry, all throughout the country, all throughout the world, and they need folks that are trained on cloud skills to come and help them implement inside of these cloud worlds that know AI skills and come and grow there. And so we have training programs for kids out of high school and kids out of college to know cloud and AI skills as well. So it really does expand across the whole economy and has a really big impact.
We actually, you will find that when you talk to university presidents, we all agree 100% on that. That not only is it a third of Americans get a college degree, it's what? 2% that have PhDs. So let's not forget that what we need to do is the dignity of work and make sure that everybody, it's a problem that we all have to think about, that it's not this is your first choice and then otherwise you go to VOTEC. It's everybody maximizing their potential and, you know, as you said, living the good life and being able to live the American dream of providing for their families. So we are fully supportive of that and really want to encourage and be part of anything we can do to make that happen. I am really curious, as we get these investments in, what is it that you hear from people who are investing in Pennsylvania? I believe in the flywheel effect. I certainly believe in the ecosystem of innovation that all of these companies coming here will drive us to. People looking at it and saying maybe there are more opportunities. Do you hear them saying, here is something if Pennsylvania did, would set you apart even more? We're not negotiating costs and returns. As a business school professor, I'm proud of that. I get it that it's the return, but I'm really curious, what are you hearing? What's the next thing we need to be doing in Pennsylvania?
Well, the governor will have a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, my experience is, I'm obviously been in office only 6 months, but I feel like I'm sort of SVP for business development for Pennsylvania. I want to be out there telling Pennsylvania's story. And the thing that, you know, business people, I'd say make two comments. The business people, and I've been one for 30 years, they're thinking about, okay, what's it going to be like to put capital to work and get through the approvals process, and you got to work with the local zoning, and then you got to work with the state, then you got the federal and the permitting reform. And so if you think we're in a world where speed matters more than ever, then if you're the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, then I think it's the governor's job and my job and everybody else's job to make that as easy as possible while protecting the interest of Pennsylvanians. So, the governor, and so that's one thing, is ease of use to make investments in Pennsylvania, ease of use with talent, ease of use with regulations, ease of use with the expedited approval process. I don't hear, the governor may disagree, I don't hear like subsidies and tax breaks are the biggest thing. It's a thing. People are interested in that. But in this moment, particularly at this intersection of AI and energy innovation, it's much more about speed and talent and being able to get things done. And then the second thing is that the world's changing. This is zero sum. So we are competing with other states. We're competing with other countries. So as good as Pennsylvania may look today, and I'm sure there's lots more we can do, we need to keep getting better every day or we're gonna lose the battle. So it's a matter of using the assets we have, we're uniquely positioned, making it as easy as possible to invest and do business, and then not taking anything for granted and doing the after action report every time. The governor and I just did this a couple of weeks ago where there was something that didn't go quite the way we wanted, and we're talking about what is it that we need to do as a Commonwealth to get better? Because the world's changing, everybody's getting more competitive, and if Pennsylvania is gonna win, we need, and be at the forefront of this, we need to be constantly improving. So that's, I think, our challenge, and as great as the $20 billion is and the $90 billion is, that is more the beginning than the end, and we need to build on those successes.
Yeah, I would say first, you need to surround yourself with really, really good people who can help drive an agenda forward. And I think I've got the best Commerce Secretary in the whole country, and that is Rick Seiger, who's a Yinzer, by the way, for all of you from this area. But we understood instinctively when we started, Pennsylvania was too sleepy when it came to economic development. We were too darn slow when it came to economic development. And we also did not have enough tools at our disposal when it came to economic development. We've changed that over the last 2.5 years. Let me explain. We brought together a bipartisan group of lawmakers to put more than $1 billion of new funding into economic development. So we've got some tools now to get these deals done. Second, we brought together a bipartisan group of lawmakers to pass tax cuts to reduce our corporate net income tax, to cut taxes for small businesses. By the way, to cut taxes for the cost of childcare to make sure that the workforce has the ability to get to work. So we've shown that we can both put more dollars into deals and also cut taxes to make it more of an attractive environment. Next, we had to understand that we have to focus on a few key areas of economic opportunity. You couldn't just sort of look at 1,000 things, you really needed to focus on a few. So energy, agriculture, robotics, and technology, just to name a few. These are areas that we're now focused specifically on in order to drive the kind of change we need. And then the final point that the senator alluded to is you just got to be fast. I mean, I think we went from being bottom 5 in the country on our permitting timelines to being top 5 in the country. So much so the National Governors Association asked me to chair a committee with the governor of Oklahoma to show other governors how we can permit more quickly all across America utilizing Pennsylvania's model. I know that was an important thing for AWS as they were thinking about their deals. The senator's right, speed to market is absolutely critical. So I think really for the first time, Pennsylvania's got it all lined up. We got resources, we're reducing taxes, we got bipartisan will to get this done, and we're showing an ability to move quickly on these deals. So I think all of that together is critical. What do I hear from CEOs? Back to the heart of your question. I hear all those things, okay? How do you control my costs? How do you get it done quickly? Am I gonna have all these political issues when I show up? Or is everybody kind of rowing in the same direction? And if you can de-risk these deals for CEOs, whether it's on the life sciences side or whether it's on the energy side, big things can happen. And I think at the core of what we've done, we've de-risked and incentivized these deals. And that's why I said at the beginning, Pennsylvania's on the rise. We're winning these deals now, and I think the sky's the limit for us.
I'll just add one thing in there. I actually think it's, I don't even know if it's bipartisan, I think it's tripartisan, because it really is like, it is that partnership with the commercial sector that's super important too. I think for too long it was kind of like, does government fighting commercial companies coming and driving the economy. And one of the things I've really appreciated in working with you all and the state is that you welcome that partnership. And it is a partnership. We view it as a really long-term partnership with the state here. We're citizens of the state here. We're local in the communities that where we are. And we realize that you all have things that you want to accomplish, and we have things we want to accomplish, and it doesn't have to be a public sector versus private sector type of there's only one winner. We jointly can win together, and I think that spirit of collaboration is super important, and it's been a huge help to us for sure in helping permitting processes go faster, working through issues, and that speed really has made a difference, and it's one of the big things that I think will differentiate going forward as well.
That's great to hear. And I think Farnham alluded to it earlier too. That's where we as universities, as educators, really hope to play that convening role, because it's part of our DNA. What we do is really collaborate with the private and public sector. And we have a few things to learn from all of you on pace of change. We get it. And we are working on it. So that's something that's very important too. This is a stellar day, incredible. Are there takeaways? You know, being a good professor, I believe in giving homework. So all of the people that are here and listening to this day, if there's one thing you want them to walk away with, it could be about the future of energy and AI, or what you hope to see. What's a message they can take with them as they think about today? I will start with you, Senator McCormick, because I know this is really wouldn't have happened without you, and we are deeply grateful.
Thank you. Well, just in 30 seconds, there is an incredibly significant revolution going on in energy and artificial intelligence. The crossroads for those two revolutions is Pennsylvania. We are uniquely positioned to be a leader, and this has enormous national consequence in terms of our economic future, but also our national security future. So I don't want to overstate it, but the nation's future depends, I think, on us being able to lead. And I think Pennsylvania is uniquely positioned to be at the forefront of that. And the people in this room are part of that answer. They're the critical ingredient to making that leadership a reality. Today was a great start, but there's so much more to do. And it's a team sport. So it's great to have everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look, I'll just finish with a note of optimism on how excited I am about the future we have in technology and what it can mean for the country. And like I said, AI has a massive opportunity to really accelerate the efficiency, the value creation for our entire economy. And I encourage everyone here to think about both personally, just embracing the technology, but also thinking about how do we help that go faster? Because I promise that in China, they are thinking about how they help that go faster. And so for us, if we can get energy permitting done faster, if we can get builds done faster, if we can think about collaborations that get done faster, that really makes a difference, and it is hugely impactful for the future. We're, as a company, investing hundreds of billions of dollars to build an AI future that we think is critical to the country and critical to our customers and critical to our company, and appreciate the partnership that you all have in playing a role to thinking of from every bit on how we think about construction, how we think about getting technology into the country, how we think about education. All of those pieces are critical components to making that happen. So thank you all too.
All right, I'll close with this. Professor Bendapudi. Let me sort of take a step back and look at the rich history of Pennsylvania and then answer your question about the takeaway for where we go from here. If you think about Pennsylvania, we have always been at the intersection of revolution and opportunity. It was our steel that quite literally didn't just build this city or this commonwealth, but built this entire country. Became the arsenal of democracy that allowed us to defeat fascism overseas and secure our freedom here at home. It was our coal miners who generated energy to allow us to keep the lights on so that we could build out this great country. Both of those, coal and steel, helped create a middle class, lift up and create the modern day American labor movement. And both of those things made us more free as a nation, created more opportunity for all Pennsylvanians. We are now at the next phase of this revolution, a revolution that I think has incredible national security risk and opportunity to it as well. AI will help us usher in the next revolution. There will be disruption, just like we've seen in the Industrial Revolution and the Farming Revolution and others before it. And that disruption is going to be something policymakers at the federal and state level are going to have to work on and address. But this is a revolution that's going to create greater efficiency, greater opportunity, and greater strategic energy for America in the global world, in the global marketplace. I think it is critically important that we harness this. I think it's critically important that we use Pennsylvania energy and the workers that create energy, just like the workers that forged the steel and went down in the coal mines, to be the ones powering the AI revolution. I think it's critically important that it be our universities that develop the tools and the minds we need to utilize AI in ways that are additive, not subtracting from the equation. This is our moment as a nation, and Pennsylvania, once again, is at the crossroads of this opportunity. How we address that is going to define the next 50 years in America and maybe longer. And the fact, Senator, that you and Dina and everyone else have pulled us here together for this important conversation at this important moment, I think will be something we look back on in 6 months, in 6 years, and probably in 60 years, and see as a really pivotal moment in that conversation. Pennsylvania is on the rise. Pennsylvania knows its history, and we know our place in the future.
Well said. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, I do want to say that I hope all of us remember how fortunate we are to be in this country, to live in this country. And I feel that to my core. And what you have started here is something, as you promised, Senator, the first of many to come. So everybody, please join me in thanking Senator McCormick, from AWS Matt Garman, and Governor Shapiro.